Hey guys, so many of you have asked me about co-parenting and how is co-parenting? Do you still love your baby daddy? Do you want to be with him? Do you want a family? All that kind of stuff. I'm not a woman of steel. I'm not a woman who is made of rocks and metal. Of course, I have many feelings and I obviously always wanted a family. And I still want a family. Just because you do not end up with the father of your child does not mean that you should remove the possibility of you remarrying and having a nice little family, but it's just very different. I never wanted a blended family because I come from one and it's been so like messy in so many different ways. So I just generally, even if I do remarry and want to remarry guy, I'm not married, I'm not a divorcee, but even when I do get married, I have to make sure that I get married to the person who's going to be present, who I am not basically having another child with someone who like I'm not sure about, because I want my second born to be my final, my final lap with the right person and the person that I love and the person that loves me. But anyways, when it comes down to co-parenting, how did I think co-parenting was going to go? I thought that co-parenting would be like what I saw in the movies, whereby like my baby daddy and I are best friends, we're doing things together as a little family, we cost share on everything, we basically, it's like we're a family but in different homes, and everything was gonna run smooth. He would take my son, or rather our son, and go and hang out with him. I would take him and go hang out with him, and that's it. But then, and everything would be literally in black and white. But for me, co-parenting has not been in black and white, and co-parenting can be extremely confusing, especially when you're still trying to figure things out. Your baby is really small. Co-parenting with a small baby is a whole other thing. That was now my reality, or rather what you think versus the reality. The reality is you have a baby, both of you are new to this game, you both have to adjust your lifestyles, you both have to change everything. And for me, I honestly think co-parenting puts you in a place where, especially as a mother, where you're like a single mom with a bit of help. That's what it feels like most of the time, especially when the baby is small, because the baby is highly dependent on you. And from Monday to Friday, at least, for most of the time, the baby is highly attached to you, mostly with you. When the baby's a newborn, when the baby's small, you cannot really do much. You can't be like, yeah, go and stay with him for a couple of days. I've seen people who do that, but hey, people are different. The baby's small, it's hard. Number two, when it comes down to finances, that you can get into many arguments if you don't have things written down, especially because you, as a person who's staying with a child, as a child is growing and you have a nanny and you have other responsibilities, that nanny gets sick, maybe you have to take them to the hospital, your child gets sick, maybe you have to go to the hospital, or the clothes that need to fit, food is a whole other budget altogether when you have a household that needs to be running fully functional. So there's a lot of feelings where you feel like it's so unfair, because you're like, this, I'm the one taking on most of the things, and you can't really help it because you are the one with the baby. So while his needs are going up, you are there consistently. You can't just be like, okay, I'll just think about it later. Nope, you're there. The nanny will call you, hakuna maziwa, there's no this, there's no that, and you have to do that because I have to buy milk. Yeah, like you have to. So food on its own is just a whole other thing. Of course, you always think that if you're in the same house, it's probably going to be easier because the man is there and he can see. But then I don't know. I've come to understand and see that people are different, that even if you're married, there are some people who are married and doing things single-handedly in their marriages. But I don't know about that. Maybe you can tell me. Also, there's emotional and mental support that you would want from a man and the father of your child while they're there. And sometimes you obviously don't have that because you're doing things, you're alone, you're doing things by yourself. Sometimes you can be so bitter because you're like, this guy his life is going on nicely, but then we never really look at it from the flip side where you're like, also maybe him, sometimes he experiences things where he wishes he was a part of his son's life. Maybe he wishes he could be a part of his daughter's life. Like we never really look at it from the flip side. Like you're there complaining that, oh my gosh, this is so much on me. But also maybe the dad is like, wow, I really miss this. But honestly, truth be told, I think for most men, it works perfectly when they're able to see their children when it's convenient for them, or they see them for a bit and then they can put them away. That's the benefit of co-parenting. It would not be, my co-parenting and how co-parenting is, would not obviously be compared to what I would wish my reality was like. My reality would be me in my own nice little family where we're helping each other out, both financially, mentally, emotionally. We do things together, we create our own culture, and we do stuff. But the reality is, co-parenting is a form of relationship, whether you like it or not, and it will have its ups and downs. By the time you figure things out, I can't tell you, from the time Amari was a newborn, we've tried that thing of you take him, go with him, and then boom, it doesn't work. From the time Amari is a newborn, it's like, okay, I mean, he knows me more than he knows you, but boom, like, okay, we need to try something different, sleepovers, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. And it's so hard to date when you're co-parenting with a small child, because people will always be like, okay, this arrangement is a bit weird. You guys have to see each other a lot. And sometimes you'll always wonder, do you guys still have feelings for each other? Is it a possibility that you guys could get back together? And it can be very, very confusing. But, very strong and big but, don't get your feelings twisted if things are not clear in black and white, because one thing that should always be clear in black and white is the feelings between the two of you. And women usually get it mixed up. If he does not show you that he wants to be with you, if he wanted to be with you and be a family and all those things, he would have already made the right steps towards that direction. But if he seems very comfortable and he's okay, then that's fine. Then okay, and things are running smoothly, then okay. Do not rush and start insisting on being a family when you know that this guy is not trying to be one. That's one. And if you know that there are so many reasons why you don't want to be with this person, never, repeat, never feel the need to be with your baby daddy just because he's a father of your child. Don't feel the need to now turn into a nuclear family because you have a child together. You can actually go and get married and meet a really lovely, nice guy who will want to be there for you and your child and will be there consistently. Because I believe that co-parenting is a decision you make because you are not compatible to be together, to form another family or to form a family and do stuff. But just because it was not compatible doesn't mean that you can't be compatible with anyone else. And at the same time, I believe that becoming a nuclear family is a decision. And if a person is not working towards you guys, merging and doing stuff together, because being a nuclear family is also a decision, especially if you're both single. Like, what are you doing with your lives? Why don't you try? But it depends on so many different things and your circumstances. But this is what I'll tell you as a takeaway from this video. Number one, always have things written down and have responsibilities that are delegated to both of you. Like, have separate responsibilities and make sure that they're done. Don't be easy at you, oh, maybe this, that. No, because I can tell you that co-parenting, especially when a baby is small, falls a lot on the mother because you're the one who you're with the child mostly. Number two, money-wise, don't strain yourself any more than you need to, making sure that maybe the dad is more comfortable or whatever. No. If he wants to be with his son or his daughter, then let him be there, even if he's dating. If he's dating, when you need to have met that person, you need to be comfortable around that person. If you're not comfortable around that person, please say it. And not out of malice. It needs to be done properly. Number three, do not date if you guys are still sleeping together. And if you guys are just playing around, don't date. Don't drag someone in your mess. Do not drag someone in your bullshit, please. Number 4, if you guys are going to try out again and be a nuclear family, you need to see what has gone wrong in your co-parenting structure, because if you can't deal with each other when you're away from one another, what makes you think that it will be easier when you're together? So you need to think, what's going to be harder? What has already been hard? Finances are literally the biggest issue. But it's quite clear you have a child, both of you need to have responsibility towards this child. I honestly think men should definitely contribute more, because a woman spends a lot of her time, her lifestyle changes a lot, but hey, we don't get everything we want in this life. So yeah, I think while you're co-parenting or co-parenting with a small child, especially when the baby is really small, dating is basically almost impossible, and it can be a bullshit lie, but it can also really work out. You will figure it out. If you're in a hard place right now, you will figure it out with time. It will be okay. You will be fine, trust me. But if not, all I can tell you is take your time, figure things out. The arguments will be there, the down times will be there. It's a form of relationship. And if you want to really, really make sure that it works out, sometimes reduce the number of times that you guys talk. Maybe just reduce communication. If you always find yourselves being pissed off and so annoyed, just reduce that. Take it out. Minimize your conversations to just texts. Just minimize, like put it minimal contact, because the time that you guys start talking, forming relationships, asking, oh, what are you doing, all that stuff, no, remove those emotions of wondering, what is he doing, what is she doing. Stop. If you guys are not together, stop giving a package of a relationship or for a relationship. Because I honestly, I will not lie to you, at some point, especially when my baby was really small, I always used to want to know where my baby daddy was, what was he doing, all that stuff, because it used to piss me off. Like, how could your life be going on and mine has stopped? Like, that's how it used to feel. But I'll tell you this, like, do not try and make a family out of a co-parenting structure if you are not one. It's going to hurt you more than anyone else, because men know what they want. And if he hasn't chosen to make a family with you, and if you haven't chosen to also make a family with him, there's a reason why, and you can move on. But make the best out of it. Give your children peace. Don't involve them. Don't be that baby mama who's like, I'm not letting you see the child, I'm not letting you do this. But hey, if you guys have any other tips, please do tell me. I must say it has been a journey, and it's a journey. I've just reached a point of acceptance where I'm like, I'm okay now with us raising this child separately. Before, it was so hard. Like, I've come from a place where I'm like, no, we have to be a family too. This is okay. This is alright.